Divine Series, Episode 6, The Jinn War, Part 2. Long ago, when the world was young and the heavens cast their light upon the earth, the Jinn thrived in a realm of harmony. Their cities shimmered with ethereal fire, their voices wove songs of ancient wisdom, and their races, Nebel, humanoid, elf, and water Jinn, coexisted under the watchful gaze of God. But peace, like a flame in the wind, flickered and died when ambition ignited in the heart of one among them, Satan, prince of the Nebel, whose cunning burned brighter than any fire Jinn. Satan was no ordinary Jinn. By day, he toiled in the celestial gardens of God, tending divine orchards alongside angels like Gabriel, the silent scribe, and Lucifer, whose hollow gaze betrayed a growing emptiness. By night, Satan descended to the earthly realms, a shadow weaving chaos among the races. His heart, once touched by divine light, had grown cold with a hunger for power, a madness that birthed a beast within him, fierce, untamed, and insatiable. The first spark of discord came when Satan broke a sacred law, though none knew the precise transgression. Whispers spread of a forbidden act, a betrayal that set the Jinn against one another. The Nebel, led by Satan's father, the king, waged war on the humanoids, their once allies. Cities burned, libraries of ancient knowledge turned to ash, and the screams of the fallen echoed across the scorched plains. Satan, ever the puppeteer, orchestrated the chaos from the shadows, his ambitions cloaked in deception. In the ruins of the humanoid kingdom, Satan uncovered a relic of immense power, a jeweled amulet shaped like an eye, pulsing with forbidden magic. With a single touch, it granted him the ability to teleport, slipping between earth and heaven in the blink of an eye. He hid the amulet in the roots of a sacred tree in God's garden, a secret vault known only to him. With this power, he eavesdropped on divine counsels, his heart pounding as he stood mere steps from angels who served God's will. Gabriel, the scribe of heaven, watched Satan with a gaze as cold as starlight. His eyes, flat yet piercing, seemed to see through the prince's facade. Gabriel knew of the wars, the betrayals, the blood on Satan's hands. Yet, bound by divine decree, he could not speak. His role was to record, not to accuse. Beside him, Lucifer lingered, unaware that his mother, a noble of the humanoid race, had perished in the inferno of Satan's wars. Gabriel's heart ached for Lucifer, but God's command was clear. Some truths were not to be spoken. Satan's schemes grew bolder. He poisoned the minds of the Nebel, turning them against the water Jinn. Through cunning diplomacy, a marriage proposal laced with threats, he subdued their queen, who bowed to a prophecy foretelling a child destined to rule. 3 kingdoms now lay under his influence, their banners stained with the blood of his ambition. Only the elves remained, their forest realm a fortress of living trees and whispered enchantments. The war against the elves was unlike any other. Their magic wove through the roots and branches, animating the forest itself. Trees ensnared Nebel warriors, vines choked their dragons, and flocks of birds, summoned by elven sorcery, tore through the skies, clawing at the invaders. The Nebel, bolstered by their fire-breathing beasts, fought fiercely, but the elves were relentless. The conflict stretched on, a brutal stalemate that devoured lives on both sides. Yet Satan's greatest fear was not the elves. It was God. In the divine garden, he overheard a command that chilled his blood. God instructed his angels, beings of unimaginable power, to guard the earth's borders, ensuring the chaos did not spill into other realms. Let what happens on earth remain on earth, God declared, his voice like thunder. Send prophets to guide the Jinn back to the sacred path. Satan's heart raced. Did God know? No names were spoken, no accusations made, but the weight of divine scrutiny pressed upon him. Panic gnawed at Satan's soul. He sought counsel from his old mentor, a sage in a grand library brimming with ancient tomes. But the sage, sensing the darkness in his former pupil, cursed him. "You have crossed the line, Satan. Be damned." Enraged, Satan ordered the library burned, its knowledge reduced to cinders. He imprisoned the sage, seizing every book to ensure history would bend to his will. The tomes were cast into a volcano's molten heart, erased forever, or so he thought. Symbols of birds with human forms lingered in the ashes, whispers of truth that refused to die. Desperate to escape divine judgment, Satan turned on his own blood. He confronted his father, the king, pleading to end the wars. "Father, we must stop. The cost is too great." But the king, hardened by loss and pride, refused. "If we retreat, the elves will slaughter us. I will not risk my queen, my kingdom." In a moment of chilling clarity, Satan saw his path. He plucked a knife from a nearby fruit, its blade gleaming with betrayal, and drove it into his father's chest. As the king fell, his dying eyes locked onto his son. "I spoiled you," he whispered. "My love blinded me to your darkness." Satan's deception deepened. He framed an unseen enemy for the king's death, rallying the Nebel with cries of vengeance. But his mother, Queen of the Nebel, saw through his lies. In a private chamber, her voice trembling with grief, she confronted him. "It was you, wasn't it? You killed your father." Satan's panic surged. He struck her down, her body crumpling beside her husband's. Before the kingdom, he stood atop a pyramid, the bodies of his parents displayed as trophies. "They were traitors," he declared, his voice ringing with false righteousness. "They led us into endless war." The Jinn, cowed by fear, dared not challenge him. Yet God's wrath could not be stayed. A blinding light descended, and a voice thundered from the heavens. "I know what you do not." Angels descended, their wings casting shadows like storms. The earth trembled, split by quakes and floods, as divine judgment purged the Jinn. Satan, ever the survivor, fled to the garden, feigning innocence, seeking sympathy from the angels. But Gabriel's coded words to Lucifer, "Every evil will face judgment," pierced his facade. Satan knew his time was short. In the end, Satan's ambition consumed all he touched. His family, his kingdom, his people, all reduced to ash by his hand. Yet he persisted, rewriting history, erasing his crimes, leaving only cryptic symbols of bird-headed gods to mark his existence. The Jinn faded into myth, their story a cautionary tale whispered across ages. Ambition unchecked is a fire that burns all, and no mortal can escape God's gaze.